Everything.
He's killing me. He's still acting up. Call him.
I know what you're talking about. It's that other guy.
His medication wearing off personally, I think.
He know how stepping with Marcus J. Thank you for hanging in there with us. What we're going to do now is get into our new segment that we started last week, segment that we like to call the Sports Roundup.
So, Marcus J.
What's up, man?
Baseball, man. Started last week. I mean, could you expected a better week of baseball?
It's been a good week. I mean, I look around the world of baseball. Last week we talked a little bit about what went on with Ozzie Guillen down there in Miami, and of course, I did my rant somewhat on it. We talked a little bit about it on the show, and from what I understand, Ozzie is back. Miami has a good team, Big Ruben. I think that with a wide open National League East, I mean, you got a Mets team who they're 7-3. So that's surprising. Nobody expected them to be 7-3 with the Madoff situation and all the money that they lost and all the players that they lost. Jose Reyes went to those Miami Marlins that I just mentioned. Nobody expected the Mets to do much. Now, I'm not sure that if I'm a Mets fan, I'm walking around thinking we're going to be in the playoffs or even win a World Series or anything like that after 10 games. But they are 7-3.
And I'm hating on them.
Well, they're half game behind the Washington Nationals, which similarly – no one expected them to do much, and it's a trip because Miami, who spent a whole lot of money and had that big stadium that they just opened up, they're sitting in last place. So that's a trip. Nobody expected the Dodgers to be sitting at 9-1. Donnie Baseball, former New York Yankee, number 23, retired in the Bronx. It's got those boys playing some ball out there. Andre Ethier and a couple of the guys there. The Dodgers are doing well. And, of course, we moved to the American League. And the American League East, when you got the New York Yankees sitting at 500 at a 5-5 record, as they do every single year, Baltimore gets off to a great start, 6-4,
Woo!
First place.
Ah!
Only a matter of time before they
choke.
But I tell you, one thing that I did want to kind of talk about as far as baseball is some controversy that's going on up there in Fenway Park in Boston, Big Rube. It's some stuff going on up there. Did you hear about it?
I heard about it, but I try to do my best to stay away from the terrible media of Boston because everything is a reality show up there.
Yeah, here's the thing. Bobby Valentine, who was a manager for the New York Mets, Texas Rangers, I mean, he's a guy who's been around Major League Baseball for a long time. And he went to Japan. He was there for, I think, from 2002 maybe to 2009. He managed in Japan. And after Terry Francona ends up leaving Boston, they hire Bobby Valentine. They're polar opposites. You got one guy that's kind of laid back, players manager, and then the other guy is fiery. That fiery guy being Bobby Valentine. And this weekend in a radio interview, and I won't quote him, but the gist of what he said was Kevin Youkilis, who is one of the most loved current Red Sox, he's a guy who's been on all-star teams. He's a big, heavy bat. Just to kind of put it in perspective, he would be, maybe not quite a Jeter, but maybe a Robinson Cano or maybe a Teixeira or someone prominent on that Red Sox team. And Bobby comes out and says that he doesn't think that Youkilis is mentally or physically into it this year. He's starting off slumping, 6 for 30. He's not doing very well, but I mean, anybody that's watched baseball over the last 5, 6, 7 years, and you've seen the Red Sox play, you know that Kevin Youkilis is one of the hearts of that team. So for the manager, the new manager, to make such a pointed statement, Carlton Banks, about a guy on that team who's been there for years, kind of struck me as an interesting way to motivate the squad. What do you think about that?
People do things, like you said, just to motivate, but then also, are you taking a jab at this guy or something?
That was kind of what I was thinking. I don't know.
It's I don't know. I mean, do you want to become one of the most hated men, or do you want to just despise a team? I mean, what is the point? What are you trying to drive? Why even go there with this guy?
Well, my bad. Go ahead.
What he's doing is basically saying, hey, guys, I'm not going to coddle you. You either play or we find a new place for you. I'm here to win. I don't have time for this. I'm not gonna sit here and baby you.
Yeah.
And I'm really cool with that, with
Right.
Valentine, because don't get it twisted. Franco is a good manager, but he babied those guys. He let them guys do whatever they wanted, and that's why they were sitting at home in the playoffs last year, because they were not mentally prepared to go to the playoffs, and they blew that crazy lead to Tampa Bay.
Here's the thing that I'll say to that, about that. Anybody that knows me knows I have absolutely no love lost for the city of Boston with regards
neither do
to
I.
sports teams. Red Sox, Celtics, Patriots. I'm a New York sports fan, so I'm predetermined to not be fond.
Predetermined. I like that.
Predetermined to be not fond of them. However, I am a sports fan ahead of being a New York sports fan. And what I will say is this. Terry Francona is a great manager. Starting off with Philadelphia and the Phillies, he did pretty well there before moving on to Boston. This is a man who took over a team in his first year in 2004, took a Yankees team that was up 3-0 and ended up beating them 4-3. First time in the history of baseball, a team up 3-0 ends up losing a series. And that 04 Red Sox team goes on to win the World Series for the first time in 86 years, and they do it again a few years later in 07. Terry Francona was the manager of both of those squads from 04 to just last year. So I'm not in a position to sit here and say that Terry Francona wasn't a great manager. I thought he was a great manager, and it was difficult a lot of times to play them because we knew that strategically he was going to have a lot of great moves. His temperament was very similar to Joe Torre's. Joe Torre, of course, being the Yankee manager, taking over in 96, winning in his first year and being there for a bunch of years. So I guess kind of to speak to your point, after a while you kind of get complacent. I guess I kind of backtrack now that I think about it. The manager somewhat gets complacent towards the later part of his tenure, and of course the team maybe not winning the World Series as they expect, because we all know Yankees, Red Sox, certain teams, this win World Series or bust. You know,
Pretty much.
making the playoffs, calling banks.
Yeah.
That's not good enough.
No.
Yeah, you need to.
I mean, I love my Braves to death, but they were just the Denver and Buffalo Bills of the.
I mean, in 14 straight years, those Braves went to the playoffs. To come away with only one World Series had to be difficult for you and the rest of the Braves fans.
It was.
Who'd they beat in the World Series?
They won in 95, the year before
the Yankees.
They didn't beat the Yankees because the Yankees beat them in 96 and 99. I want to say it was probably, we'll have to look that up.
I have to look that one up.
I want to say maybe it was the Cleveland, because I know that the Yankees lost in 95 to Seattle. And whoever Seattle played in the playoffs is probably who beat the Braves. I mean,
if you know right offhand, give us a call at 804-447-0601. Who did Atlanta beat in that one World Series during that 14-year span?
Come on, Braves fans, speak up. I know there's 5 million out there.
We got people.
Come on, Miss April. You should be listening. Give us a call.
We got people in. We got people in Georgia. We particularly in Atlanta who are listening. Who listen to us every week. 804-447-0601. Who could call us up with that answer? If you have that answer, of course, we got a special prize for you if you call in with it. And if you haven't called in by the end of the segment, we'll let it out and we'll let you know, because I pulled it up. I know the answer now. So, Big Rube, this weekend we got something big going on.
UFC.
What's the deal, man?
It's a light heavyweight title fight. John Bones Jones against some other dude who's terrible. I refuse.
So why are you so hype about it?
Yeah, I mean,
Because first of all, this dude's a beast. He's a former light heavyweight champion. I just don't care to speak his name because I don't like him.
all right, well, for the people who don't watch UFC,
Then they need to look it up. I'm not speaking his name. Like that dude from Petersburg who's an actor whose name I don't speak.
Blair Underwood?
I don't speak his
Why
name.
you hate on Blair?
Really? Blair Underwood?
Yeah, I don't speak on that dude.
Blair Underwood?
Why are you hating on him?
Why you hating on Blair Underwood?
Yeah. Why you hating on him?
Because, in that years ago.
Years
ago,
what did he do to you?
in
He
the
touched
Ebony-
you?
Hold
Blair
on.
Underwood?
Yeah.
He touched
Blair
you?
Underwood?
Yeah. Blair
He
Blair Underwood?
Blair Underwood, yeah.
Blair Underwood.
Whatever.
Okay.
That dude.
Seriously, what's your
Nah.
deal with Blair?
Hey, man. In this Ebony magazine, man, he said he was from New York. You weren't from Petersburg. Oh,
Really?
You good
Really?
enough for Petersburg?
Really?
We got his picture in the school. You walk in, that's what you see. That dude.
What
Nah,
about
I got no respect
what
for
about
that
Tim
dude.
and Daphne Reed?
Yeah,
I
what
mean,
about them?
what's the deal with them? What about,
They didn't go to Petersburg.
But they supported like crazy.
That's not the point. He went to Petersburg High School, and then he did not claim us.
When's the last time anybody
Don't
heard
care about
Moses Malone say that he was from Petersburg?
Actually, he does say he is from Petersburg.
I haven't heard him ever say that.
Because nobody really asked him because everybody knows
But
where he's from.
that is
But
kind of-
whoever asked Blair Underwood where he's from?
When they interviewed him, he was from New York.
All right, get off of Blair. I like Blair. Blair
Blair's
played
all right.
Russell Walker.
I'm glad you can like him.
Blair played Russell Walker in Crush Groove, and ever since
Man,
I
I
saw
don't care if he
him
played
in Crush Groove,
Santa Claus
Dude.
I've
and
been a
The
fan
Grinch Stole Christmas.
of Blair Underwood. Blair Underwood actually.
Did he say the Grinch?
And since we're on the subject, I'm gonna do a shameless plug for Blair because I am a fan of his,
You're
and
terrible.
I know and I know this will annoy Big Rube.
Yeah, sure will.
Blair
Wait till
Underwood
basketball.
is on Broadway right now in New York City, starring in an all-black production of A Street Called Desire, which was made famous by Marlon Brando in the 50s. So it is an all-black cast. You got Nicole Ari Parker. You got
She's fine.
Blair Underwood. So if you're in the New York City,
We
New
gonna talk
Jersey
about him.
area, give him a chance. It's Blair Underwood, who we are a fan of. Two of the
Yeah,
three
very much
of
so.
us here,
That's
Steppin
cool.
with Marcus J. But anyway, back to UFC.
I mean, all those famous people from TJ.
Yeah, right. So back to
Oh, see,
back to
you know what?
hold up, back. I want to go back to UFC. Now, seriously, tell us about who is this guy whose name you won't say, just for one time. Say his
I'm
name.
not gonna say his
All
name.
right, you're not gonna say his name. Okay, what else we got with UFC? Tell us why it ain't no half step and
Because
why
John
we should
Bones
watch.
Jones is possibly the best light heavyweight champion ever. He's undefeated.
Okay, now what is the weight class for light heavyweight?
Light heavyweight is anywhere between 180 and 220,
Okay.
I believe.
Okay, so anywhere from 221 up, you're considered
Heavyweight.
Heavyweight. Okay, so basically, this guy's basically a badass.
Yes.
Now
Yes.
this is on, and we won't say the network name, but it is on.
It's not on network. It's on pay-per-view.
It's on pay-per-view. I thought
Yeah.
that I saw somewhere that it's on network television.
No, I believe it's on pay-per-view. I will double-check that, but I believe it's... No, it's on pay-per-view, man.
I
You gotta
believe
pay
in
for
you and me. Oh, I thought.
it. Okay, I will say
you
this dude's
there you
name.
go.
His name is Rashad Evans.
All right, thank you.
That dude, he's terrible.
So basically, if you're into UFC, you got
Beast.
a pretty good matchup that you need to watch. From what I understand, there's at least 3 or 4 matches that should be pretty cool. You know, not like professional wrestling where you got to sit through, 10 nonsensical matches and a bunch of talking just to get to the 2 or 3 matches that you want to see. But the UFC, they pretty much go in and go hard from the beginning. So, I'm not into it, but because Big Rube said that it's something that I should keep an eye on, maybe I'll turn it on, or maybe I'll find myself in a bar this weekend.
I think we should make an outing. I think it's a...
Well-
you will appreciate this type of beatdown that's about to happen.
Well, if you say so. I mean,
Just-
I don't always trust your opinion on stuff because
Yeah,
you go
yeah.
in on nonsense and you go crazy and you talk
Well,
about the Lakers
how
and
about
the
this
Redskins
then?
and all that crazy stuff.
How about this?
So,
This dude fought somebody. 3 weeks later, he got a light heavyweight title shot because the dude who was supposed to fight got hurt. So 3 weeks after beating some guy, he takes a light heavyweight title shot, wins. The last 2 guys were defending champions. He's beaten defending champions already. That's all he beats up. I mean,
There it
and
is.
Rashad Evans
all he
is
does is
another
win.
defending champion
I
that he's
did-
going to beat up.
I did hear Floyd come out yesterday or sometime the last couple of days, Floyd Mayweather Jr. talk about how the UFC is growing in popularity in large part because of sports entertainment, which we know that's WWE and TNA and those types of jokers, as well as boxing,
Yeah.
because you know that you're going to get a hybrid of, well, he didn't say this is kind of where I pick up. You get a hybrid of, professional wrestling and boxing, where you get the hybrid, you get the pure adrenaline rush of seeing 2 big monster dudes beat the hell out of each other.
Yep.
Versus knowing that you're going to get a live shoot. And for people who may not know what a live shoot means, people really fighting. Wrestling,
Oh, yeah.
they, when you get 2
It's
guys
scripted.
in wrestling,
It's not really fun.
it's scripted, but you get 2 guys who really don't like each other and the promoters turn them loose. They call that a shoot, a real fight. You get that every time the UFC guys go at it. And it's pretty cool, actually. Anytime you see somebody get closed fist punch right in the face, I don't know. Maybe it's the sadistic side of me, the hood side of me, which is a very small hood side of me. I do get a pretty damn big kick out of watching 2 dudes just beat the hell out of each other, Carlton Banks. What you think about that, man?
My thing is this. I never watched one, but it's just amazing to me how this is nothing but like you said, a hybrid.
Let's do it this
it's-
weekend. Let's do it.
Yeah, we'll find some
It's,
way.
it's a mix of wrestling and boxing,
In
and
a cage.
In a cage.
In in an octagon
I mean,
cage.
can a brother do a flying dragon off the top of the ring? I mean,
That won't hurt anybody. It's called fake.
That's
it's
what's
called
up.